Hello boys, welcome to a new video.
No, don't worry, it's only me. Stealth here guys, welcome to another video. The reason why I decided to borrow Blitz-war's intro is that he decided to borrow my username, so I thought it was only fair that we do a bit of an exchange. It's not the only thing that we've exchanged, because I'm operating with Blitz-war's deck over here. Yes, I said deck, let's not make this anything more than it is. This is a Finnish-Polish motorized deck. Jeez, what's with my English? Finnish-Polish motorized. There we go. I'm operating on Nuclear Winter is Coming. And I am facing Sergeant Blackbear. Previously known as Corporal Blackbear. Because in the previous match, we were both corporals and he completely obliterated me. This time around, just 2 minutes later after the previous match ended, I'm going into another battle. Different deck. The previous time I was using a USSR mechanized deck. This time around I'm using a Finnish-Polish motorized deck. So an entirely different way of playing the game. Now the plan over here is to deal with the left. I want to make a move on the left. There's quite a few forests there, there's quite a few tree lines, quite a few things that I can make work. Over on the right, a bit of defensive warfare. There's really not that much that I'm sending that way. When it comes to the opener, I'm going to try and drop off a couple of Airco down in the middle, potentially backed up with more motorized forces that arrive later. Of course, initially, I'm going to only have airborne units. That will arrive quickly. And in order to sort of secure their presence, I'm going to send in a Salamandra and a Hawk. Now, this deck does not have a designated Helo Hunter, which I didn't know before I started. I didn't really look into the deck that well, nor was I planning on using a Helo Hunter. But nevertheless, the Hawk is going to have to try and fulfill that role. It's not the best at it. It's a slow aircraft, it only has 2 missiles. It's got a decent turning circle, but of course the bombs are not going to be particularly useful when you're trying to hunt down a helicopter. Maybe if the helicopter, let's say, turns out to be a longbow and they decide to land the helo, maybe you can make it work then. But aside from that, not that likely. In case you want to use the deck as you're seeing it, it is linked down below in the description. Again, it is not really my creation at all. It is Blitz-war's creation, and he gets full credit for that. The question is, can I make it work? Because when you're first operating with the deck, it's usually experimenting. Does this work? Are these the right units for my choice? Does this line up with my playstyle? What do I need to change about my playstyle in order to make these units the most effective? I know that Blackbear is operating with a Blue Dragons a Blue Dragons deck. I'm not sure if it's specialized or not. Previously, it was a Eurocore deck. Now, I had a little joke with Blackbear in the beginning, saying, "Well, you're going to run out of fuel before we even meet." Eurocore has a ton of fuel, Blue Dragons generally does not, and it tends to run out of fuel. Anyway, on the road, or rather on the river. Hawk sent forward to try and scout out. The Mi-17 is going to drop off a Fagot ATGM team, nothing too impressive, but mostly just to scare off the enemy, and use the rocket pods on the Mi-17 to deal some damage. Salamander to scout out, maybe pick off a high value target or two, depending on how much NTR I run into. I do immediately run into a Block 52D, and of course against something like that, the Hawk stands absolutely no chance. So I immediately lose the Hawk, but in essence it served its purpose, because it's shown me that there is no current air threat. There's no helo drop in progress, there's not really anything that I need to be worrying about. And while he is Blue Dragons, or at least he claims that he is Blue Dragons, I've been not so much helo rushed, but I've seen helo drops on this map a few times, and they generally don't go well for me. So if somebody says that they're a different deck, I'd never trust it. Not at all. Now, if I can just ignore Dimitri and move right into Anna, into his 2-pointer, that would be great. However, I encounter quite a few of his forces over in Dimitri. It seems like he's going heavy on that. There's a short arrow, there's a couple of Humvees, there's a gun tank, there's even more infantry behind it, and immediately the Airco get into contact. Unfortunately, the ATGM infantry is not in a great position. I need to land them slightly further to the left next time. because that would allow them far more safety. I was very much hoping that I could take out the short arrow and the gun tank, and then allow my rocket pod helos to deal a ton of damage. Unfortunately, that's not quite how that happened, because while I'm able to take out a ninja with the Airco, the gun tank survives, and that means that they still have anti-air, and with all that anti-air and their infantry, they immediately delete whatever I have left in Dimitri. No matter, I still have my XD15 KTs, that I completely forgot about on the left, and I can make quick use of those to move into Anna before he's able to take up position there, or at least hopefully. Over on the right, trying to get a sissy sniper team, or sorry, sissy recon team into position and seeing if there are any threats coming that way. Got light infantry down there in that town. It's a complete tongue twister, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but they do not really have that much of his recon, so time to give them a bit of a hand. 185 KTs dashing forward. And I'm hoping here that my little action in Dimitri delayed him for long enough to allow me to get more forces further forward. That's the hope. Speaking of units, my recon team encounters a KAFV-90 and it gets taken out immediately. Let's hope that that's the only thing there. In the meanwhile, oh crap, Chukyon-sa. In the meanwhile, bringing over another Mi-17 with Fagot ATGM. Mostly to just shield that area from further vehicle invasion. Unfortunately, the Chukyon-sa completely wipe out the infantry there, as well they should. Chukyon-sa are just gonna roll over most units there. So I'm just considering what unit to buy, and eventually I end up buying almost nothing there. Interestingly though, I have dropped off the Yekiri all the way over there in Anna. And some of them are even not dropped off yet. Another Airco is able to take out another ninja, or at least make an effort. I get a hit, and as the Airco are reloading, the ninja moves out of range. Now, I had sent more infantry into Dimitri, but I completely forgot about them, so the Kutai 90 take them out before they're even able to disembark from their vehicles. It doesn't really impact my strategy so much, because if I can push his 2-pointer and ignore Dimitri, then great. So I'm only going to send a little bit of a skeleton crew to Dimitri and keep them at bay. The ninja is apparently not done eating anti-air missiles and comes back to eat another one and dies. So that's the second ninja out of commission. And with, well, an okay amount of control over the right flank, I decide to buy a CV there. Now, time to drop off the infantry. Yekiri drop off there. The other Yekiri can't quite hit them, but the KTs can. And as you can, or as you might have seen, I also sent some of the other KTs to go on a flanking mission. See if they can find something behind enemy lines, maybe delay a little bit, harass some stuff as they can. As for the rest, I'm just trying to reinforce my position up front. Aside from whatever missiles the Airco have left, I have nothing in the sense of anti-air. So, sending forward a ROM to try and deal with enemy helicopters if and when they decide to show up. Because that's kind of what I'm expecting here. Helicopters could be a quick answer, because, well, they're the fastest units in the game, at least moving in a straight line. And I don't really have anything to deal with them. They can do a lot of damage to my Yekiri. They can potentially do damage to the KTs as well. The KTs might be able to get a couple of shots off at them. They might even be able to shoot down 1 or 2 helos, but I'm not going to chance it. So, calling in a ROM. The 185 KTs are also able to take out some of the vehicles that are trying, apparently, to make it into Anna. And some of these vehicles are packing quite some infantry. These Humvees need to go. Unfortunately, I'm getting shot at from the right. There's a K1 over there. So I'm trying to back these boys up as quickly as possible, but no joy. The XD5 1KT dies, the other one survives, and I forgot that I called in a ROM, so I decided to call in an I-290 as well. I'm not sure why, I just completely, in the heat of the moment, forgot about it. Moving on, you got to see the BMP-1TJJ moving towards the right flank. I have had quite a few vehicles, or players, try to roll over that bridge. I'm not going to let that happen this time around. I have a motorized deck, I have quite a few cheap units, so I can probably quite nicely make use of those by just having units almost all over the map. Remember those Humvees I took down? I think that's what came out of it. Kutai 90. Kutai 90 are dashing forward, there's still 185 KT left, and the KT immediately starts wiping out Kutai. Much to the chagrin of the Kutai and the K1 that's not able to shoot them, but the K1 is able to shoot the Yickety over there on the right. Unfortunately for the JSDF Rangers, they don't really have a lot of cover. And then the K1 takes out the other KT, but not before the KT does quite a bit of damage against the Kutai. There's only 12 of them left. If it would have been 20 versus 20, so 20 Kutai 90 versus 20 Yickety 90, I probably would have lost. But as it stands, with the Kutai 90 at 12 and panicked, I think the Yickety might stand a decent chance. So let's open up with machine guns. Let's drop off an HGM inside the town and see if I have some other units that can assist. I have the romp in position, and I see that there is a helicopter coming in at a slightly greater range, but I don't really have to have the NTR forward yet. The Kutai 90 have now engaged the Yickety, but what they have and I don't is fire support. And it turns out it's not just Kutai, there's also JSDF Rangers. Now, I had a +2 going because I captured Ivan, but he captures his side of the river, and with that we're back again at a +9 for either party. Nevertheless, I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot. I have Anna, and if I can maintain my hold here, I can just slowly but steadily start to bring more CVs, like I just did in center. And with that one in position, I'm back at a +2. So let's continue ticking. Now, the BMP-1 over there, I decided to take it on a merry roll around. Because, who knows, maybe I'm able to get around. Much like these KTs are. And, well, what else to call in? Let's go for a BMP-1. The I-290 is trying to get a shot at the H-1J, or at least in considering it. It's not in range, and if I want to get closer, I might expose the I-290 to K1 tank. That's not really appealing. So I'm not going to go there just yet. The tank currently is not a threat. So if I can just keep the I-290 alive and let the tank sit there for a while until the XA-180s with the Raniko Yickety arrive, then that's probably the better option. I don't need to immediately kill this helicopter. The 185 KTs over there in the back, look at what we have here. That's potentially 2 mortars. And that would be great to kill, because he keeps putting up smoke screens in order to get more forces into the tree line. I can't really let that happen. So, time to bring in more units, and we start wiping out units pretty much as they spawn, or as they're firing mortar shells. Now watch these 2 things work, because they immediately get spawned upon by a quad stack of reservists. The vehicles immediately die. I was highly prioritizing the vehicles so that they're dead slow. Whatever other vehicle spawns in immediately gets killed. So that if he wants to bring in his units to the front line, they're going to take a while. That was the plan. Let them take a while before they get to the front line. Because the longer they take, the better it is for me. The better it is as I have more time to reinforce my front line in Anna there. Unfortunately, the 185 KT there dies to the AH-1J. I have the Raniko dropped off, turn off the machine gun to only force these guys to use their assault rifle and the Apalas, and tell them to go and kill a tank. I think 2 shots hit, and the other 2 shots immediately wipe out the tank. In return, whatever is left of those Kutai 90 wipe out one of my vehicles, but at this point they're going to run into all the Raniko, and unfortunately I don't have fire support, but the Raniko should be able to hold out for at least a little while. Let's go with a couple of mortars. Always handy to have these. Potentially should have bought them sooner to make it safer for other units to get to the front line, but so far so good. Let's wipe out that 1 squad of Kutai and then get rid of the Rangers. Let's see if the XA-180 is able to support. And there is the Mi-17 with the command infantry. I'm already ticking a +2. If I can tick a +4, I might be able to really panic this guy. And, of course, I can still use the Mi-17 with its rocket pods to deal with any kind of infantry as I see it. The XA-180 has to get out of there as quickly as possible because, contrary to expectations, the Raniko have died. So instead, let's bring up a couple of charioteers in case these guys decide to cross to, let's say, my side of the woods and bring in the ATGM to a better position there. Calling in another recon infantry as well, because at the moment I really only have the Erico over there, which I completely forgot to move. And these 2 ATGMs are basically relying upon the spotting from the Yickety 90. So, Get them into position, get the CV into position, get the MI-17 ready. And aside from that, well, just cruise for a bit, because I am at a +2, soon to be a +4, and there seems to be a push incoming. So I'm already queuing up more infantry to arrive. I'm just not quite sure which ones to pick. So I go for the Spado infantry. And at the same time getting a Malyutka transport, or sorry, a Malyutka ATGM vehicle to come in. Now he puts up a smoke wall, and he's definitely going to try and make his way into this sector. Had he used the forest, I think he would have had a better shot. Because, as it happens, I have quite a few HGMs there, but of course they're being blinded. The MI-17 is unable to see the infantry as it charges across. The mortars, however, are able to immediately assist. As the Renico, well, I wasn't quite sure what building to use, so I kind of put them in the wrong building and had them jump around. As I'm expecting these Yakari to die, I'm pulling in some new ones. Kutai immediately get hit by the MI-17s as they pop out of the smoke, and they take serious losses. The MI-17 then acquires a different target with JSDF Rangers. There's 10 of them. Nope, there's 2 of them. And that's what the MI-17 does best. Fantastic fire support helicopter. In the meanwhile, there seemed to be a little bit of an advance over there on the right, but nothing too serious. And with these ATGMs being able to see just through the gap in that smoke screen, I'm able to take out a gun tank and force the K1 back. So his offensive here has failed. Let's bring in a couple more units to reinforce this position and maintain that +4. So the longer I can maintain this, the shorter the game will be. And at the same time, I'm basically forcing him to buy a command unit. At this point, the BMP, that recon unit, is able to get quite far to Fedor. Surprisingly so. I was expecting a lot more resistance. Now, I do make a mess of this here. The Skull 2s arrive. The JSDF Rangers are spotting for K1 in the back. And the Spado immediately start taking losses as their transports get destroyed. There's not that much that I can do about the K1. So I decided to instead smoke it up and just blind line of sight to it. I got a gun tank over there, but I can't quite hit it. Not with the light infantry as is, so I should have put a spike down there or something like that. Even the Fagot HGM probably would have been able to get there. Now, another HGM unit has arrived. I decided not to go for the spike there, but for the Fagot, because it had the transport of the MI-17. And I thought that was going to be more useful. I got a little bit of an offensive here with Chukyon-san. The ones that were apparently on the right, and that I just never decided to counter. They did make it into the sector, but currently not a threat. Now, the 2 Spado groups have taken some losses, so I'm going to try and get those guys back up to full strength. Now, at this point, the BMP is seemingly able to find, or hoping to find, the command vehicle, as my own command vehicle in the back there gets detected by the Chokyon-sa and swiftly eliminated. That's what happens when you don't defend your CV, as I frequently forget to do, because I was, at least in this match, very much occupied with trying to reinforce the front, and completely forgetting to potentially flank, or have other potential units flank my side. As I kill their CV, however, I'm still at a +4, and the tick will continue. I'm not even going to be trying to make it into Dmitry. I'm just trying to get rid of the Chokyon-sa there, and maintain my grasp on the front line. That's the most important part. If I can keep doing that, I should be fine. And I still have a few units over there, the Charioteers, the BMP, that I'm not even using. The Tu-55, as well as the mortars, are trying to get rid of the Chokyon-sa, and the BMP, well, might as well send it to Elena and see if I can find the command vehicle there. Unfortunately, it gets detected and killed off by an H1J. Meanwhile, one of the K1s has been killed off by an HGM, the other K1 is making a move, and the Yakari 90 are not equipped to deal with that. It is a K1, I only have a low-end M72, so it's time to send in the Erico and their Apalas, and they will make short work of K1. The Yakari are suffering at the hands of that tank, but with the last shot, before I'm pulling them back, they get a weapon jam on the K1, leading to a very easy and comfortable kill by the Erico. And in the meanwhile, I happen to catch a side shot on his super heavy, the Kiyo Marushiki. So, I'm not sure where it was going, but that one side shot immediately took out a very high value tank. At this point I have quite a few units on the field that I'm not really sure where to go with, so I'm just going to send them forward, the Majutka, the Thank God, the Charioteers, and, well, I just have to keep up this tick rate for a little longer, and potentially defend a bit more in Anna, but that should be it. The ATGM is not able to find the CV that's coming in, so instead let's get some vehicles across and see if I can intercept it. Because that thing is definitely going to try and subvert my control over Anna. In the meanwhile, I have a couple more Yikiri and KTs. I bring in another gas, another CV. But there's really not that much point, because it is done. The battle is complete, total victory. I got quite a lot of kills, not that many losses, and I was able to get all the points. So far, so good. This was the first time that I played this map. And, well, I got my revenge on Black Bear over there. Much thanks to Blitz-war. Link down below is his channel as well. Be advised to check it out. It is great content. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon for more.